So back in July, when I was researching the Forlorn Soldier, the monument that was on Airport Road, there was a ceremony for the move. And while I was there documenting the ceremony, I noticed on the ground a blue and pink apron and hat. They were just on the ground in the dirt. A lot of it was like sun bleached a little bit. And I picked it up because I wasn't sure what it was, and I looked at it, and on the apron it said "Forlorn and Forgotten." And I just thought it was really weird, and I showed it to my professor, the person that was that's helped organize the event, Dr. Matthew Warschauer, and he was just puzzled by it. We both didn't know what it was. I kept it, however, and I put it in my trunk, and I didn't even think about it. Then a couple of weeks later, I was researching more about the soldier, and I found these images online of the statue wearing that exact same bonnet and apron. And I had to know more about this, and I did some more researching, did some more digging, and I found a Facebook page with similar images that was managed by the Knitty Gritty Committee. Apparently they're a yarn bombing group that goes around and knits things and puts them on public property as a part of just like beautifying the area. But I want to find out more about this Knitty Gritty Committee. Why did they do this? Where did they get the idea from? And we're going to find out that and a lot more from this ultra secret group called the Knitty Gritty Committee, or the KGC.
We are the Knitty Gritty Committee. We are a Hartford-based yarn bombing crew. Yarn bombing is defined differently by different people. We ourselves define it as integrating textiles into an urban environment.
And how did you get involved?
Let's see, when I graduated college, I was in search of community. I lost touch with that from school. So I love to knit, and I wanted to find people that were like-minded, and I was also really interested in graffiti, and I had read about the startings of yarn bombing in Texas with a group called Knit Please. So I put ads on Craigslist, on Facebook, and I found these fine people. We've been together for 3 or 4 years now.
2010, yeah, close to 4.
Yeah.
And what's the purpose of yarn bombing, or of this group?
I would say graffiti, but it's graffiti that you can remove, you know, depending on the type of yarn bomb that we use. If it's like long enough to be a scarf, you know, somebody can come by if they're cold, remove it, and, you know, have a little something. But at the same time, it's in that vein of prettying up the area, giving it a quirky, you know, twist to it, while, you know, all the while drawing attention to areas that are otherwise written off as destroyed, condemned, blighted.
What would you say to people that would say that your type of artwork is graffiti and possibly detrimental?
Legally, they're wrong.
Could you?
Well, I mean, technically, if you really want to go into a textbook definition, it's littering. That's as bad as it could possibly get. But at the same time, it's, you know, there's tires on the side of the road too. It's, you know, as we said, you can pick it up and you can use it, you can donate it, you can ignore it. But it's just, you know, we're not hurting anybody, and we've had people ask us to unbomb their places. And we're warming up the city. I mean, we all have different reasons why we do it, but I think it's, you know, we're adding warmth to a cold, sterile environment. And, you know, it's like, you know, you make a blanket for your friend because you like them, and I like Hartford, so I make a blanket.
So how did you get the idea for yarn bombing the Forlorn Soldier?
A friend of mine actually pointed it out to me. He lives in that neighborhood, and he said, you know, there's this statue and it looks like it's falling apart and nobody's taking care of it. And he knew about the knitting group and suggested that we put a dress on it to draw attention to it. I'm not from Hartford originally. I'm new to the area, and I'm learning about the history and trying to find the different interesting things about the city, and it really captivated me. This poor soldier, I drove over there and looked at him, and he just seems like he's falling apart, and he's back away from the road, and but I read about him online. He's a Civil War soldier. Obviously he deserves our respect. I think this is important, and so I was inspired to make some things for it and to ask everybody to help me put that together.
So what was the process of making the things that you made for it?
I like to crochet. I'm actually not a knitter, but that's okay. We're an equal opportunity group for crocheters and knitters. And I crochet while I'm watching television. I'm a big Doctor Who fan. So it took me about 5 episodes of Doctor Who to make this stuff for the Forlorn Soldier. I made a bonnet and an apron, and I used some yarn that my grandmother often gives me yarn that she doesn't want anymore, and she picks up at tag sales and things like that. So that was the process. I used a lot of her techniques she taught me when I was young, particularly her embroidering technique for putting words on, and putting forlorn and forgotten on the apron.
And what was the process of actually committing the act of yarn bonding?
Well, it was a 2-car process. Yeah.
2-car process.
Yeah, there was
We
a
don't
lot
all
of
fit
us.
in one.
There's quite a few of us. We also threw some yarn bomb tires out in the location because, as you said, you can't see the soldier from the road. So we put some yarn bomb tires, kind of just to make it say, "Hey, look over here." But yeah, we took 2 cars, piled in. I think it was just us, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I think it was all of us. Yeah.
Drove over there. I didn't know where I was going.
So we followed the person who did.
Yeah. And
I
then,
live near there, so yeah, I led everybody there.
It was a beautiful day. The sun was just setting, nice. We got out there and scoped it out, had a few jokes between us, and took some pictures.
He posed very nicely.
Yeah, I mean, no one stopped us. No one seemed to care. We were more excited than nervous.
It's a little difficult to get everything on because the statue is so tall, so we had to work really hard to get the bonnet up on top of his head. That was the most difficult part. Without, obviously we don't want to make him worse than he is. He's already got some instant
scale
hair, so we had to very carefully tie things on in a way that we thought wouldn't damage it. And we made sure to leave the strings in a way that it could be taken off without damaging him further also.
Yeah, because sometimes we use cable ties to lead yarn bombs up. So we just used just the strings.
Just sort of tied him on.
So he's decorated, let's say, and now it's time for the getaway. And how does that process
This is a
go?
fun story. You want to go through?
Yeah, you know what?
So, you're ahead of me, right?
I'm ahead of you, because I know where I'm going.
I don't know where I'm going. So you're in my car. And I'm like, hey, we're driving, we're leaving. And I notice there's a cop behind me. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just not going to use my phone and I'll be okay. So, I mean, we're on Weathersfield Avenue.
We're on Weathersfield Avenue, just above Meadow Street. And yeah, same thing, I'm driving, and you see cops on Weathersfield all the time, so it's like, oh, here's a cop, I should pull over. And as I pull over, I see the other one pull in front of me, so I can't go anywhere.
Totally like, choo, choo, choo.
You would think that
Two cop cars, and then a third came.
it was kind of like on television. You would think we committed a major crime and were hiding from the authorities.
The kids on the corner were like, what is this? What is going on?
Yeah, they were very entertained.
Yes.
So then it's like, excuse me, ma'am, turn off your car. And I'm like, okay. I've been pulled over once for rolling through a stop sign right before my house. Didn't get a ticket. This is like my only interaction with a cop, like in my car. So I'm compliant. Like I don't, why wouldn't I be? What were you doing? I told him. He did not understand me.
Most people don't know the word yarn bombing, so.
So he's just the most confused person.
The guy who had me, he was very angry, and he's like, well, you may as well just tell me what you did, because we already know.
We got treated very differently during this entire process.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I told him we were at the war statue on Airport Road. We tied some yarn pieces on it. What? It's yarn. We put yarn on the statue. As soon as I told him it was yarn, he was not interested anymore.
By this time, we're out of our cars.
By this time, we're out of our
Yeah.
cars, we're handcuffed. My guy's really angry. But I told him, it's like, it's yarn. Oh, we were told it was spray paint. No, it's not spray paint. I would never destroy anything like that.
Yeah.
It's yarn. You can take it right back down. And yeah, as soon as my guy found out it was yarn, he was totally uninterested and had something better to do. I don't know about your guy.
Well, everyone else stayed in the cars. The cops took everyone's information. I am in a lovely spring dress and heels, cuffed to the front of my car, while everyone in the bodega watches. We had to wait for a female police officer to come and frisk us. So that was, 2 more cop cars later, causing a huge scene. And I'm just like, what is going on? I'm telling them everything. They're confused. They're like, do you have any more of this stuff? And I'm like,
They kept asking for
I'm like, no,
materials.
like,
Yeah.
like, do you have any needles? And I'm like, I don't understand the question. Like knitting needles or like drug needles? I'm just really confused.
And when they took our bag of stuff, they took a project, a doll I was knitting, and it was, a character, a superhero. He's taking it out, slams it on the top of the car, and all I'm thinking is, yep, icon of, comic book superhero done frisked and taken into evidence. He wasn't even finished, but, he was asking what this was for, and it wasn't even related to the project, but he wanted our materials, names.
I mean, ultimately, I guess a trucker had been driving by and called in suspicious activity. There was graffiti there they hadn't seen before, and they assumed it was us. They realized that it wasn't us. They didn't apologize. They didn't even tell us we could go. They just uncuffed us and left. They never followed up. I told them, funny enough, that was a Monday, and I was going to be interviewed on the Colin McEnroe show that week. So I told them, hey guys, do you want to learn more about yarn bombing? Listen to the Colin McEnroe show this week, and I'll give you a shout out. And I did. So if anyone wants to go into the Colin McEnroe archives, there's a great interview.
Where you detail this whole...
Yeah, the whole incident.
Okay, that's really cool. So what other yarn bombings have you been involved in? Well, let's just say in the city.
Well, our first major project was Valentine's Day of 2011, I believe, in Elizabeth Park. We went to the Rose Garden area, and there's that gazebo in the middle. And we had spent about a month prior putting together knit flowers, and we made kind of a net where we attached flowers, and we made that at the top of the, I guess the entrance, you could say. And the friends of the Elizabeth Garden were absolutely furious about this. They felt that we had defaced and defiled this historic rose garden in ways that were irreparable. For the record, I think we didn't even use zip ties. No, we didn't.
I mean, they could have just easily taken it home for themselves.
They called us terrorists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus the city of Hartford Parks Department, which takes care of it. I ran into someone, it's like there was so much uproar, it's like, let me go start taking it down. And I ran into someone from the Parks Department, she's like, why are you taking it down? This looks great. So I told her the story, and she's like, leave it up for another week, and then you can come and take it down. Okay. And then I go back, I do what I promised, and go back in a week, and it's already taken down for me. And it's like, oh, okay, someone was happy with it. And then we get a lot of messages. There was a lot of back and forth on Facebook with the friends. And we got a lot of people defending this, and it was right after one of the really huge storms. So it was bleak, desolate, ugly, and we're getting a lot of messages of, this is right after the snowstorm. Valentine's Day is kind of weather-wise ugly. This prettied up the place. Why are you so angry? Which made them more angry.
Well, they didn't think of it first.
Yeah. Last year on MLK Day, we worked at the Wadsworth Athenaeum during Community Day, doing yarn workshops. We taught kids how to finger knit. We taught them how to knit and crochet. We taught them a little bit about yarn bombing, and because we put up a couple pieces you could see from the window. So we would say, hey, do you want to see something cool? Look at that tree over there. What do you see over there? And they'd see bright popping yarn bombs up there. So the kids got involved in it. So that was really fun.
I taught one kid how to spin.
Oh, that's right.
And what do you see as the future for your organization?
Hopefully hanging out more.
Hopefully. A lot of us are students and we work, so we don't get to, recently we haven't been able to get together like we have, but we're trying to get together more, because I miss it.
We take suggestions for projects.
Oh,
People
yeah.
find our Facebook page. They can look up the Knitty Gritty Committee on Facebook and give us suggestions of things that they think need beautifying.
We've had our eye on something specific for a while now. It's just really tall and oh yeah, it's hard to get up there.
Logistics.
Yeah.
Well,
The Lafayette horse, we've been wanting to
give them a
help
hat.
it a little bit, or just a nice like rose blanket on the back, like the race horses when they win. And you know, we were
And where
really
is that exactly?
On the corner of Washington, or with the intersection of Washington,
Washington Capitol, right behind the Capitol building.
we want to do it. I think we got a little scared after the statue and that stuff. But like, I think next time we do something big, I'm gonna probably my plan was to write something else about our First Amendment rights and take it to the ACLU and have them sign it, just to get them off our backs sooner than later.
But this is right behind the Lafayette statue is a state police barracks.
Yeah.
You don't want to give the horse a blanket with stadies about.
Right.
Even though your intentions are entirely pure and good.
So it's one of the things we're trying to figure out.
Any last comments or anything you want to share?
We're always open to new members. We're not a closed group. If you want to find us on Facebook, you want to meet up and hang out. Yeah.
That generations to come